Hi, welcome back to MOAB, Making Music on a Budget. If you have been following the channel, you know that we are in the midst of a Crafting a Song video series where we take a humble GarageBand demo and turn it into a fully produced song. This video is going to be a short detour because many people ask me, what's MOAB? Where does it come from? What equipment are you using? How can I use it? So in this video, I'm going to share what kind of equipment I'm using, and we're going to take a short trip down memory lane to see how we got here. I used to be a drummer many decades ago. At some point, somewhere in the middle of the 90s, I said to myself, I want to have more creative control over the music I'm playing, I'm performing. So I started to take voice lessons, I started to write songs, and then slowly I started to produce and record my music. The first device I was using, and I just stumbled upon it in my cellar, is an old Fostex 4-track recorder. For our younger viewers, let me explain. A cassette tape has two stereo tracks on it, one on the front, one on the back. So this nifty little device allowed you to either record 4 tracks in parallel, or you could also only record 3 audio tracks and then bounce them onto the last remaining track, thereby freeing up the 3 tracks you just recorded. It was just great fun. Looking back on it, it actually taught me a lot because there was a certain limitation. Having 4 tracks at your disposal really taught me how to think ahead. Not being able to cut the way you can do it now. Just take a piece here, put it here, take a bar from the end, put it in the front. So the only thing you could do was punch in and out if you wanted to change anything. Let's take a listen. Thinking about all the equipment I have been using over the last decades, it always had a certain MOAB tinge to it, because the next upgrade I made, I was just using this Atari ST with Cubase version 2 or 3, I can't even remember, to control MIDI tracks on an old Roland keyboard I had lying around. Important to note, at around 1998, when I was using the Atari, this was already yesterday's gear, but I just kept using it. I did actually purchase one new piece of gear, and that was an Akai DPS 12. This was the first prosumer digital audio workstation that you could use to record 12 digital audio tracks. And it was connected to the Atari, thereby controlling all the MIDI tracks. And it was great fun. Let me give you a taste of what could be achieved with this setup. Yeah, that was almost 30 years ago. Crazy, right? In around 2002 or 3, I upgraded yet again to a PC running Cubase, which meant that I had, a lot of VST instruments and samples that I had never used before. And of course, being able to take, a piece here and move it to the back. On the DPS 12, there was only a very small black and white screen and a terrible UI. Whereas on the PC, you could do all kinds of things. And I loved it. Let me play you a piece of music I made during that time.
Oh, I keep on gliding on the canal behind the reeds. I'll be riding in my dreams. I will ride the emerald stream. Whoa.
I do have to say I still like it, and I can still hear what I was trying to achieve. Thinking back to that iteration of MOAB, I think I was already using many of the same tricks and workarounds. For example, asking other musicians to play on my tracks, but just getting the audio tracks and then putting it in and then cutting it and playing around with it. I do have to say from 2005 there was almost a 20-year break from making any music because I started a family and I had to focus on making it work somehow. Especially, after graduating into the OF club, making music, recording music seemed to really slip away. It seemed out of reach. I did keep a very tenuous connection to music by taking piano lessons in earnest from the age of 45. So I went to a piano teacher every week, you know, no YouTube for me, learning Beethoven and Bach and Schumann and all that stuff. And it really taught me a lot. Even though you may be 40 or 50 or 60, just start picking up an instrument, take lessons, because the older you are, the more focused you are. As I was saying, making music seemed very far away, because especially in my head, making music seemed to mean you have to go into a studio and you have to hunker down with other musicians and all that. But then Apple released GarageBand, and I thought to myself, let's use this tool to at least put down some music as a demo for posterity. You know, you never know, maybe at some point I could use it. That was really the actual start of MOAB, because I did get myself a Shure MV88, which is just a small clip-on stereo microphone. There's a lot of content on my channel on how to record drums and how to punch them up and all that. So long story short, I did find out that you could do a lot with a little. I do have a drum kit in my cellar, but I don't have a space to, you know, to put it up, and I don't have time. So I'm basically just going to a rehearsal room, using their grand piano, using their kit, tuning it, recording it for 1, 2, 3 hours. So I did switch over to an iPad Pro with an M2 chip, once again a refurbished one, and I'm using Logic Pro now. I started on GarageBand, but I did move up to Logic Pro. Talking about making music on a budget, my whole setup is an iPad Pro, a stereo microphone to record drums and piano, a Focusrite Scarlett audio interface to record a Rode NT1 that I'm using for the main vocals or for background vocals. That's it. I do have an old Clavinova keyboard that I use to put in MIDI tracks, and I do have a Rhodes, but that's not even mine, that's just on loan. So that's all you need. So making music on a budget just means coming up with a song, putting some audio tracks on there, inviting some people to play on my songs, arranging and mixing it all within the iPad. I do have Rode NT-H100, you know, mixing headphones. So once I arrive at a workable version of a song, I take it to a friend of mine who is a sound engineer and a mixer. And I think this is something you should consider, because if you mix it yourself, and there are some good, you know, mastering assistants in every piece of software, Logic Pro, whatever you might be using, but still there's a vast difference between what you can do as a hobbyist and what a pro can do. Let me play an example. So this is my version.
We're gonna take it one step at a time, one step at a time.
And this is the professional.
We're gonna take it one step at a time, one step at a time. Keep looking up, there's a long way.
At the end of the day, whether you're young or old, whether you are very skilled, you know, at your instrument, or whether you can just play 2 chords, you can just make music on a budget today. There are so many workarounds and there are so many DIYs. I share everything I know on the channel. I want you to also maybe put some of your MOAB tips into the comments. Please consider dropping me a sub, because I have 3 interesting things planned. Number 1, I'm going to take some of my old songs from a long time ago and try to add some tasteful new instruments. For example, this one.
The battle's open now. I can't forgive myself.
The second thing, I have some finished songs that I recorded this year or last year that haven't been fully mixed and mastered yet. And the third thing I'm working on right now is a bit more out there. I'm working on a song in 7/8 time, because I want to take an odd time signature to see whether we can make it into something that most people wouldn't identify as strange, but as still groovy. I'm still in the process of playing around with it, so either it might work or it might not. I'm going to keep you updated. I might actually make a whole series out of it. So thank you for sticking with me, because this video has gotten a bit longer than I intended. I'm going to see you next time when we're going to make some more music on a budget. MOAB.